brought up Venezuela, Drill Sergeant Doug. One of the things that you're focused on, the sort of 30,000 foot view and why we should care and following the money and stuff. What do you think? I've got to ask you, or I want to ask you, what do you think about what you hear about the president talking about Venezuela? Do you think it's a distraction? Because I do, when we have the Epstein files coming up on Friday. What do you make of all these sort of aggressive tactics and that push towards, looking at Venezuela? He's the peace president, right? He's supposed to be.
Well, yeah, he also was going to stop the war in Ukraine on day one. So what he is a marketer. I'm hesitant to use words like distraction because, yeah, it's a distraction, but it's also a very, very, very real political outcome, social outcome, a actual real thing that happens. I heard the quote that the person, if there's two people in a debate, one person says, I'm going to give healthcare to all and make it so everybody can make $40 an hour. And then the other person falls into the orchestra pit. The only person that will get recognized and get shown on TV is the person who fell into the orchestra pit. So yeah, it's a distraction. Except the orchestra pit this time is a war in a foreign country being backed by the worst players on earth, from Russia to North Korea, losing the Five Eyes, which is all of our intel, and trying to gain what I think they're calling the C3 or C4, which is the only intel we have is the people who we're supposed to be spying on. It's a distraction, yeah. Tomorrow might be a big day, sure, but it's also part of the Peter Thiel plan. It's part of the network state plan that Peter Thiel, every single thing that Elon has done has been backed by 1789, including Neuralink, include every single thing that's bad. Might be a distraction, sure, from Trump's ego's problem, because that's the only thing that's going to get hurt. But in reality, it's all a part of the plan to take over, be in power of as much land, money, and people as possible to service the ultra rich and the people who they believe are worthy of a free life of liberty, and everyone else is here to serve them.
I was looking at, after the killings of the two National Guardsmen in Washington, D.C., I looked up and I saw Janine Perino on television, and I just thought, what is this? This is just like, it looks like if you cast an administration. Everyone just looks the part. He wants people to look the part. Part of the game here for the Republicans is the strategy of this right out of central casting and putting people who look the part in the position, whether or not they have the depth to handle their position or not.
This is America, man. What we've done is we've elevated the beautiful over the smart. Vivek Ramaswamy told you. They didn't want to hear it. But he said whenever he wrote that Twitter post and they hated him for it, it was, wrong-headed. But the truth is, we will give anything to the beautiful people. And for some reason, we think celebrities know something that we don't, right? For some reason, we look at that kind of superficial beauty and the way something looks and the same way that you look at racism. Like it's ingrained in this country, and he knows it. He's been ingrained by it, and he is playing that exact card because it works. It just works. If you look at a beautiful woman or a beautiful man on TV and he tells you something, you'll buy the product. You'll buy it. And then if somebody else was selling the same product next to them, you wouldn't buy it, because that's how this country has been ingrained. I don't know if it's just capitalism or popularism, whatever you want to call it, but we've been that way since the 20s, and it hasn't stopped. So we
never leave the seventh grade, it's always the seventh grade. It's like, I want to be fucked. I mean, it was probably the problem that like the nerds had in the CDC, that they weren't effective communicators. They had Dr. Fauci out there and people were just breaking them through the coals, and still do. And the Fauci ouchies and all that stuff, it's just like they are whatever you want to call them. You know, I'm sure I agree with you and some of the names that we could say off camera, but they're very smart at manipulating the media. President Trump has that. He could run all these media stations. You know, it's just, look at Fox News, what you were talking about, Drill Sergeant. Fox News, like, that's how they sell other stuff. That's why they're like consistently watched, the most watched cable program, right? It's like the opposite.
Listen, these people are media animals. That's what they are. They're not political animals, they're media animals. At Fox News, you had to be a certain type of girl in order to be on camera, period. Does it matter if you were smart, if you were a lawyer? Doesn't matter. Did it matter if you knew what you were talking about or you could read halfway well? Doesn't
journalists,
matter.
Who needs those? We got actors to perform as journalists, right? Like, who needs those?
So what you find out is there's two type of people in the world. There's ones who watch that, and they're just citizens. You're using the mind against them. We know for a fact that they're going to watch that because as long as you make sure that the table is this high and the legs can be seen by the camera.
Oh, the table's got to be see-through so you can see the legs. All of
they're going to watch. That's right. They're going to watch.
The WWE president, strong and wrong, all through. I mean, it's just crazy.
On the other hand, though, the other type of person also knows that the CDC is important. The other type of person also realizes that education may be important and wants their kid to go, even if they don't want yours to go. What we used to have was people who were smart enough to know the difference and play the game, but also understand that they don't need measles all over Texas. What we have now is the people who look the part, but aren't smart enough to know the difference anymore. So they're just entitled pretty people who have been entitled their whole life and never thought that learning or education or asking questions or thinking deeply or reading or anything other than stroking their own ego all day, all night is important. And now we have a government that reflects that.
It starts in the
very
household
pretty,
too.
Though.
Very pretty. It starts in the household too, though. I mean, I tell my kids, look, y'all have everything. You're so beautiful. You're so smart. You are well taken care of. People are going to expect you to be assholes in this world. Don't be. I mean, I don't say assholes, right? But anyway,